So then we'll go talk about converting between English and metric. So inches to centimeters. All right, so on the sheet, at the top of the second column, it tells us that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to go back to using my unit fraction method. So 19 inches multiplied by, and I need to put inches on the denominator so that way it'll cancel out. And I know that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So then inches cancels out. So to get my answer, I just need to multiply 19 times 2.54. .26 centimeters. And then 55 millimeters to inches. So I don't have a conversion factor to go directly from millimeters to inches, but so what I'm going to do is first convert millimeters to centimeters. All right, so 55 millimeters equals, so I need to go one place to the left. So that equals 5.5 centimeters. And then I can do my unit fraction and put centimeters on the denominator. And 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. And then I can cancel out centimeters. And now I'm going to multiply 55 times 1 over 2.54. Or sorry, 5.5 times 1 over 2.54 equals. So that's approximately equal to 2.17 inches. All right. 8 yards to meters. So on the sheet we have, it tells us that 1 yard equals 0.9 meters. So when you're converting these conversion factors, especially between metric and English units, they're not exact. They're rounded off. So different formula sheets and different, people will use different conversion factors that maybe are rounded slightly differently. And so that can result in small errors or differences in answers. So like when you're doing your homework on MyLabs Plus, I would encourage you to try to do it using this formula sheet, because you want to get used to using this formula sheet because this is what you're going to use on your test. However, they might have a slightly different conversion factor on there. And so if you notice that, your answer is a little bit off, you might want to just like look and see if they have a different, slightly differently rounded conversion factor that they're using, So it's just like the difference between, if this says that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, but someone might decide to say, oh, well, 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters, right? They might just round it off a little bit more, something like that. All right, and also there's different ways, like I said, there's different ways to get the answer. So for example, if you didn't know that this conversion factor for yards to meters was on here, you could still, you could maybe work the problem by converting yards into inches and all that stuff, and you could do it that way, and that's totally fine. But because the conversion factors, again, you might get a slightly different answer. So when you're doing your test, I want you to make sure that you show your work so that I know, how you got your answer in case it's a little bit different from my answer. All right. So if we use that direct conversion factor, though, it's pretty easy. So 8 yards, and then we got to put yards on the denominator. And we know 1 yard is 0.9 meters. Then we can cancel out yards, and we just have to multiply 8 times 0.9 to get the answer. And that's 7.2. 7.2 meters. All right, 63 miles per hour, and we want to convert that to kilometers per hour. So let's look at the sheet. Here we go. 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers. Okay, so basically we're converting 63 miles to kilometers. So put miles on the denominator. And it tells me 1 mile equals 1.6 kilometers. So then I can just cancel out miles, and all I have to do to get my answer is just multiply 63 times 1.6. Which is 100.8. 100.8 kilometers per hour. Any questions? Number 13, 75 decimeters to yards. Okay, so I don't think we have a direct conversion factor on here for decimeters to yards, but we do have meters to yards. So what I'll do is I'll start by converting from decimeters to meters. So to go from decimeters to meters, I just need to move the decimal point 1 time to the left. So that's going to be, okay, so 75 decimeters equals 7.5 meters. And then I can use the conversion factor. So multiply that. Let's see. Okay, so I need to put, since meters is here, I need to put meters on the denominator here. And it's 0.9 meters equals 1 yard. So then I will cancel out meters. And then I'm just going to do 7.5 times 1 over 0.9. So approximately 8.3 yards. All right, any questions about that? All right. So 9.2 is about area and volume. Okay, so area is a two-dimensional measurement. So how many square units are in the figure? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8 by 5. So 8 times 5 equals 40. So there's 40 square units in that rectangle. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me show you some. All right, let's say that I have right here let's say this is 1 square yard, okay? Or yard squared, square yard, either way. Okay, that means that each side of that square is 1 yard, right? So, how many feet are in a yard? 3. So each one of these yards can be split into 3 feet, right? Okay, so 3 feet, 3 feet. Okay, so how many square feet are in that square yard? 9. Okay, so we know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. And if we square both sides of that equation, that tells me, so 1 squared is still 1. So 1 square yard equals 9 square feet. Okay, so any conversion factor that we know as for the one-dimensional, so 1 yard equals 3 feet, that's one-dimensional. We can square both sides of it and get the two-dimensional for the square units. Okay, and by the way, you can also do the same thing for cubed units, which is 3-dimensional. You can just raise it to the 3rd power and do that the same way. Okay, so if we want to convert 5 square feet into square inches, all right, so that's one way of saying square feet, and that's just another way of saying square feet. Either way, it's the same thing. Okay, so 5 square feet. So I need to put square feet on the denominator here, so that way it'll be able to cancel out. And I'll put, that means I have square inches on the top. So 1 foot has 12 inches. So I would put here, you can either write 144, or you can also just write 12 squared. Either way, don't matter. So feet squared cancels out. So you're going to multiply 5 times 12 squared, or 5 times 144, whichever. So 720. 720 square inches. All right.